I should have something else, the EEG. Maybe we'll see it in a few minutes. Okay, now here are the two key questions. What are the meridians? How does acupuncture work? This is from Gray's anatomy. In the anatomy, usually the arteries are covered in the arterial section, veins are covered in the vein section, and the nerves are separated from each other. But I'm going to claim that this neurovascular bundle, every time you have an artery, there are two satellite veins accompanying the artery, and there's a major nerve bundle associated with this. So these four things are bundled together in a connective tissue. So at least we can claim that meridians below the elbow and knees are actually the neurovascular bundles. And arteries and motor nerves are centrifugal. Satellite veins and sensory nerves are centripetal. Hence, they are almost electromagnetically neutral. In their function may not be reviewed via anatomy. And even for a normal person, if your functions vary a little bit, they are electromagnetically annihilating each other. So it's hardly to be verified and examined. So, here's the key question. What are the meridians? They are the neurovascular bundle. And vascular vessels have been agreed that they have the property of R, resistance, L, inductance, T, capacitance, and G, conductance to generate the resistance. How are nerve bundles? According to Hodgkin, actually, there's no place for inductance. Then you have a leaky cable. You have to invoke sodium, potassium, palm, etc., and the ion channels to do the job. There are a lot of questions there. If you like, you can look at YouTube or under mechanism or acupuncture, you will see that there's something wrong there. Now, it's not the purpose here, but trying to emphasize that if you look at Schaefer's essential histology back in the 1900s, that this is something I didn't show here. It's supposed to be the modern view of neurons and synapses and axons, etc. Because if you use Golgi and Cahal's scanning method, you will see something like a few neurons with synapses here. But this is the scanning method through Nichols method. You will be able to see the neurons. However, this is the acoustic cortex. This is exactly the same place in our brain, the brain matter. If you use this is called Weinberg-Tau scanning method. You will see cables, nothing but cables. So the authors usually in the textbook want you to see what they want you to see. Okay? It's not exactly what is really happening. So if you look at Wilhelm's body works, you will see that this is the nerve fibers, and even in the cerebral cortex, you have just seen it's nothing but the fibers. And actually, do we have inductive impedance in the neuron or in the nervous system? Yes, from Kennecott's book, membranes, ions, and impulses. You will see that it was sweet axon. The membrane impedance actually at very low frequency is inductive. The real axis is resistance. Here is the capacitance. Down below is the inductance, because we have a minus sign here. At very low frequency, it's inductive. When it gets to higher frequencies, it will become capacitive, and vice versa for the vessels. These are the neural bundles. So here's the conclusion, at least for the meridians. The neurovascular bundles should be characterized by RLCG, and we can use the transmission lines and complex communication networks to model them. Here they are. Here are the transmission lines supposed to represent the meridians. Visceral organs can also be characterized by their impedances. And here are the links. Here are the outside the rhythms, or maybe internal rhythms, the rhythm generators. Question number 2, how does it work? It's actually the injury current. When you insert the needle right here, it doesn't have to touch the nerves, because once it actually hurt the nerve, you will have a shocking feeling, and it's very uncomfortable. So actually, it's basically around somewhere here, and the injury current will leak, and eventually you will feel the numbness, soreness, and different feelings. According to Kennecott's work, that actually if you have an injury current, the capacitance will decrease from say like 1.4 picofarad to 1.2. So you have roughly 20% of decrease in the capacitance. Nothing much for the resistance, even though you have a more decreasing almost like Percentage-wise, it's nothing much. From 1,820 to 180,000, it would be less than like less than 1%. So actually, the acupuncture can influence regular visual organs and into current near meridians, so that relevant impedance will be matched or mismatched. Through this mismatching or matching, the refractive wave, instead of traveling wave, will have steady wave. And that can explain the blood flow and how it works. Because in PCM, acupuncture is actually trying to decrease or increase the V, the impedance. The V doesn't change that much. So this will adjust the blood flow. And low vascular flow can be achieved mainly through adjusting the V. That's basically the idea. So conclusion. The mathematical apparatus was not covered here. Basically, I use fractional volume motion, fractional Gaussian noise, and spectral measures to quantitatively characterize the physiological rhythms, and then the model meridians and mechanism of acupuncture they proposed for this medicinal art of acupuncture. The conclusions are that traditional Chinese medicine actually treats the blood distribution problem from a dynamical function perspective, because the blood volume is roughly the 7 to 8% of our body weight. So like this 5,000 cc's blood should be distributed to the brain who are doing mental exercises, and should go to the digestive system if we have after a good meal, and should go to the limbs when we are doing exercise. So actually the problem should be emphasized on the distribution of the blood, rather than concentrating on the pressure per se. If you try to lower the body pressure over the body, then you might not be able to react fast enough to environmental changes, and that may have adverse effects. So this is the key point. However, my EEG diagram suddenly disappeared on the transparency. I don't know why. I checked it yesterday, it was there. Well, I'd like to say that EEG changes also in terms of seconds. So now here's the question. Blood pressure, EEG, ECG change in terms of seconds. How can you explain that in terms of nuance theory? You have to invoke something different. Because I have tried for themselves. Because if you use a serial model, it would take years to have a synchronization of rhythms, and it would take days to do that. If you use a parallel model, then you would not be able to see synchronization of rhythms. Unfortunately, the synchronization of rhythms were not reviewed here. Finally, these are the reference lists. You can basically download all the papers right here through my web page, if you like. And I would like to thank my co-workers. Finally, thank you for your patience.